Reader's Digest, 15 fascinating facts about mustaches to celebrate Movember. Love 'em or hate 'em, mustaches are having a moment. Here's everything you wanted to know about them and an answer to the question, what is Movember? This is my favorite made-up holiday of the year. For those of you who don't know. It's autumn, so here come the mustaches. If you notice more and more men ceasing to shave their facial hair in November, don't assume it's out of laziness or part of some fall trend. Movember is a month-long campaign to raise money and awareness for men's health issues, such as prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and mental health issues such as depression and suicide. My father apparently struggled with prostate cancer. Not one to talk about his health, as many men from that generation were. So this, and combined with mental health issues, kind of is close to my heart. What is Movember? The idea for Movember was born in 2003 in Melbourne, Australia. The first ever Movember challenge, a group of 30 Aussie friends, self-proclaimed Mobros, challenged each other to grow out their mustaches for an entire month, simply to see if they could bring the style back to popularity. Surprised by their bold mustaches' ability to spark conversation, the founders decided to attach the challenge to a worthy yet overlooked cause, men's health. And the Movember Foundation was born. So links in the show notes, and you can read all about Movember. If you're not aware of it, where have you been? You Facebook people? It's all over Facebook. That's how I found out about it several years ago. And because it highlights a cause that is honorable, I celebrate, even though clearly I can't grow a mustache. Next, from Fox News, we're going to look at the caravan and what's going on. So this is Fox News. Migrant caravan plans to push on toward Mexico's capital, and this article is by Sonia Perez D and Mark Stevenson via Associated Press. Central American migrants traveling with a U.S.-bound caravan beg for money from passing cars in Cordoba, Veracruz, state in Mexico, Sunday, November 4th. On Sunday, the bulk of the caravan streamed into the colonial city of Cordoba in Veracruz sugar belt. And the photo was by AP photographer Marco Ugarte. All right, we're not going to read this article. Links in the show notes, because honestly, I have some other things to show you. They did vote. They were in Cordoba, and they did vote to press on on Sunday towards Mexico City. So their route is relatively clear right now, and let's look at that. Sayula is where they had to decide on Saturday. Saturday they were in Sayula. And they had to decide if they were going to, what they were going to do, because the governor of Veracruz, whose bus offered to transport them all the way to Mexico City, about a 24-hour drive, 27-hour drive, would have put them in Mexico City today, this morning already. He rescinded his offer. But he did say he would transport them to anywhere in Veracruz that they cared to go. It's unclear whether they took buses or not. But here's Cordoba, which is where we said on Saturday, I guess, I was saying, their most likely next destination is Cordoba. And had they walked it, and I'm not saying the bulk of them didn't walk it. This is a 53, or depending on how they go, 53, 57, or 61-hour hike. So for the bulk of them to be in Cordoba, there's no way they walked it. No way. And that was some of the discussion amongst these migrants. Let's go back to this article for just a sec, because I want to pick up. Cordoba, Mexico. A big group of Central Americans has agreed to push towards Mexico City from a coastal state Monday, planning to exit part of the country that has long been treacherous for migrants seeking to get to the United States. In a thunderous voice vote Sunday night at a gymnasium in Cordoba, about 1,000 members of the migrant caravan that had been moving northward through Mexico voted to get to the capital Monday, today, by walking and hitching rides. Cordoba is 178 miles from the capital. The shortest route, which would be the group's longest single-day journey yet since they began more than 3 weeks ago. The vote came after weary caravan participants made it to Cordoba after a 124-mile trek through Veracruz, a state where hundreds of migrants have disappeared in recent years, falling prey to kidnappers looking for ransom payment. The estimated 4,000 migrants in Veracruz are still hundreds of miles from the U.S. border. And now, links in the show notes. You can. So let's just slide out a little bit and get rid of this where I was doing math. There's no way these people are walking. And admittedly, they're hitching rides and so forth. We've lost our map down here because I updated where the second wave is, but I'm going to guess that they are hot on the heels. This is Arriaga in this area right here. They are to Arriaga, I'm sure, by now, and are hot on the heels of the tail end. Unless all of these people that are up in Cordoba walk and these people get rides, they're never going to catch up to these people. But that's their goal. And Caravan 3 is somewhere down in here. And Caravan 4, I'm not sure if they've left El Salvador. I think they left El Salvador yesterday or Saturday, and they're in Guatemala, approaching the Guatemalan border, and we probably will see them in Tapachula if anybody's even reporting on them at this point, this fourth wave. All right. Let's see what else we have to do today. There was a report released over the weekend from veterans on patrol or not veterans on patrol, depending on where they are in their argument over the name. Nevertheless, there is a bona fide veteran with them who had some observations to share. And then we're going to roll right into another group we featured when we did U.S. and our border a few days ago. And it's from another volunteer patrol group. So let's go look at that.
All right, man. So we were down here the other night. What did you see right here at Boquito?
All right, so we've been sitting up on a hill a good ways back behind us for a while, probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and we were noticing what looked like and appeared like to be, a group coming in, moving in up over these hills. They were using their flashlight for clicking on for a few seconds, just find their way a little bit, and they click it back off, and then there was an infrared light, or like a red light going. We eventually flooded the valley with all of our high beam flashlights and kind of moved over here real fast, and it kind of panicked them. And by the time we got here, BP ended up passing us, and by the time we caught up to them and we got here, there was a group of anywhere, I'm going to estimate, 30 to 50 people, and there was 100%. There was, I don't know how it said, but there was Muslims in the group. There were women that were wearing full face burqas. They were covered. There were small children. There were women in the group. Their faces were covered as well. There were some bearded men. And if anybody wants to try and say I don't know what I'm talking about, I've got 2 pumps to Iraq. I've been to Fallujah in 06, Ramadi 07, Baghdad, the whole 9 yards, that whole area. So I know how to pick separate from your illegals crossing to Muslim crossing. You got Muslim crossing into the border. When Obama was in, say what you want about him, but they were allowed to fly in through the airport. When they're coming over the border this far south, that tells you something. When they're mixed in with children and immigrants, that tells you something right there. That tells you something right there. And I didn't see a word about it on the news the next day. I didn't see nothing about it on the news the next day. And that to me is troublesome and bothersome, because if you've got Haji moving in down here on the southern border and it's not being talked about, all the more reason we need that fucking wall. Look at that. Look at that, America. Look. Ain't anybody can just hop over that little dude fence right there. Or drag little children.
Yep. Now check it out, guys. We got the 2 right up here. That's a 100-yard dash from the 2, and you're right over this little bitty wall. You don't even got to go over it, guys. You go right underneath it. Bingo. And you drop. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They haven't restored the greens.
The rock is moved. Can you tell how long ago that happened?
That wasn't too long ago, because the dirt where it is still moist. See, somebody ate part of the fucking lunch. They didn't want the insurance. So they come through, and these usually have 12 nails in it. And there's only 1, 2, 3,
3 meals, and only 2 pairs of socks. So
that means people are out. When was the last time you guys came and checked the drops?
well, they'll replace this every week or more, depending on what you're told. See, that's not too old. That's a Vienna sausage top. And there's no rust with all the rains and everything else. So this is in the last couple of days. Move that away, Rocco. I mean, some of the labels are fading. That one still got some good color to it.
Yeah, it won't take long for that to happen.
So we'll come in. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So there's probably 3 cans of beans missing. 6 or 7 meals. So this one is doing good. Ready to smoke. That's it.
Members are armed with military-style rifles that are legal in Arizona. They're prepared to intercept or capture anyone crossing the border illegally.
When friends come to your house, they come to the front door and ring the bell and announce themselves. They don't wait till you're not home and then climb through your back window and make themselves at home.
This desert land is a well-worn route for Mexican cartels. Border Recon members want to try and secure the border because they say the government has failed to do so.
Basically what we're trying to do is just hurt the cartel's pocketbook. This area is pretty much theirs. And we're coming back in and going, it's not yours. It's ours.
To try and catch the cartels, Foley hides motion-activated cameras. That's critique.
It's okay to politically correct, call us racist and everything else. That's all right. I prefer the term domestic extremist. Because if getting off the couch and doing something is extreme, then yeah, I'm an extremist.
To protect the border, in 2006, the Bush and then Obama administration started building new, taller fences like this.
In a military
80 miles to the east, Mark Daniels, a Republican, is the elected sheriff of the neighboring county, with 6,000 square miles of land and 80 miles of border. His office also has video of camouflaged drug mules bringing bundles from Mexico into the U.S. His new surveillance cameras can peer into the Mexican hills 2 miles away. He says that little black structure on top of the hill is full of cartel scouts. Daniels says militias don't have enough technology or legitimacy.
when you entrust a law enforcement agency, they've been vetted through a community, a process. Militias are not vetted. They want to be eyes and ears like we talk about community policing. Let it be. But it always goes to the next level, where they're armed better than my deputies are.
Just down the road, U.S. Customs and Border Protection is completing a 4-year-old upgrade of the border fence. There's a ranch that runs up to the border, and it's owned by John Ladd. His family has lived here continuously for 120 years. He says despite the fence, drug smugglers cross his property freely.
Their backpack is 50-pound pack in the back, 20-pound in the front. They'll take their dope to the highway and go back and get another load. They'll do 3 loads a day. The dope will be picked up by a vehicle on the highway.
He would like to see more federal border agents, not militia groups.
If you're going to be on the border, it's going to be a legitimate agency that is going to take care of the problem.
The amount of people that are out patrolling. What do you think you would need to double your effectiveness, realistically? 2,500. I mean, it's the same size as San Diego. You want to shut this area down? I grew up down there, so yeah. I mean, you need agents. I mean, if you want to shut this down, I mean, you need agents. You need National Guard, and that's the powers that be. That's Washington D.C. Yeah, those are people that are going to have. That's all that red tape. Yeah. But you know what, man? I think more Americans need to step up like these guys right here.
It is suspected that Soros financed much of the opposition to Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. But now, according to Reuters, the world's largest news service, Soros is partnering with MasterCard to hand out money to migrants seeking to enter the U.S. and Europe. Calling it Humanity Ventures, in September, Soros pledged $500 million to address the challenges facing migrants and refugees. A joint Soros-MasterCard statement said that government aid programs haven't been effective at helping migrants. Only private capital can solve these problems by handing out risk-free loans to migrants. This comes after MasterCard in 2016 admitted it handed out prepaid debit cards to facilitate the migrants' rapid penetration into Europe. According to yesterday's Zero Hedge, something MasterCard did with the explicit blessing of the European Union and the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. As Zero Hedge commented, perhaps MSNBC and other liberals who blindly claim that Soros and his network of nonprofits aren't providing financial assistance to migrants approaching the U.S. should consider this before they continue with their denials. As a friend of this channel in Germany recently wrote, the Geneva Convention addresses invasions by paid migrants and refugees in plain clothes. If they are carrying concealed weapons, then those who pay them may have committed high treason. Just 4 days ago, 2 Honduran nationals were arrested after attacking Mexican federal police with a Glock pistol. Glocks are not your cheap street handgun. They are considered the top pistols by military and police officials. Earlier this week, the U.S. government warned the Mexican federal police that migrants used Molotov cocktail attacks from a second caravan near the border with Guatemala. I'm still reporting from just outside the one-time free speech capital of the world. Good day.
And that last report was from the Still report, not his full broadcast, but a snippet of what he's reporting on with regard to financing and funding. And this dovetails into what we covered over the weekend with James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, exposing or appearing to expose Beto O'Rourke's staff, diverting some campaign money to fund some or to assist some migrants in one of the churches in El Paso. Now, I have to point out what it was not pointed out in the article that or the release that we did, but I have to make a slight adjustment, not really a correction, just a slight adjustment. When we went over the law involved in state and federal elections for Texas, the campaign finance portion, we did not include a part of that law because we expect you to go read this stuff yourself. But there is a part of the law where campaign finances can, for example, be used to support a community organization. And so, for example, the example in the law is if you want to, create a bookmobile, I think it was, and you want to collect donated books and so forth for a mobile library, you can use part of your campaign funds for that if it is a charitable project that the campaign is undertaking. Does diverting funds from Beto O'Rourke's campaign fall into that? It's a little murky right now, and I suspect it's going to be a big. That's all we have for you this morning. We had a great time on Saturday visiting Amish country, and you can see that in yesterday's published clip. We'll continue to follow this caravan as best we can, but I have to tell you, as I told you over the weekend, it is getting harder and harder to figure out where they are and where they're going because nobody is in the mainstream media is reporting on them as I believe they should be reporting. A couple of production notes. You can see we've returned to the original summertime desk once we moved from the futon to the window, and we'll probably utilize this because it's not quite snowy yet, although we're getting close. And also the Still report clip, the audio portion was found on Mumblit this morning, and I would encourage you to investigate Mumblit, MUMBLIT.com, as a social media alternative to places where you may not any longer be comfortable if you are a conservative or a libertarian or an independent voice finding yourself shadow banned on Twitter or kicked out of the algorithms on YouTube or uncomfortable on Gab for whatever reason. The user population on Mumblit is growing all of a sudden pretty quickly, and we have a couple of more followers, and let me encourage followers to please fill out your profile so that we can get to know each other and have some meaningful dialogue about things in this country that we feel strongly about. Tomorrow is election day, and in most of the country except for 12 states, if you're not registered and you're not a valid citizen, you will not be able to vote. We nagged you to death about getting that done. If you haven't gotten it done, you're not going to be able to vote, and we're sorry about that, because we need every voice in this country to step up and tell our leaders what direction we want our country to go in. In Texas, the early voting had already started about 10 days ago. I'm not sure of the exact date, so don't quote me on that. But if you're in Texas, you need to go vote if you're registered. And if you haven't already voted, get out and vote. The crisis is on your doorstep, and those of us in other parts of the country can't help you if you don't step up and vote and make your voice heard. I have great compassion for the people along the Rio Grande who are facing all kinds of disruption to their businesses and their farms and their home life because of this mixed multitude who is bound and determined, as it appears now, to get to the U.S. border by the end of the week. And tomorrow we will bring you a clip of some of the troops who are already on the border working to reinforce with temporary but very effective tools. So, also in our outro, we told you that we were going to add reality, not fiction, and we have done that. So you can easily recognize his channel when you go searching for it on YouTube for things about weather anomalies, parts of this. He's also reporting on parts of the information on the caravan. He reports on law enforcement issues. He reports on civil issues. So please go check out Reality, Not Fiction. And with that, we are done for the day. For me and the shepherd, on this cloudy, drizzly, off and on kind of rain day in our neck of the woods, where our trees are either, bare stems or green, where a few trees have not given up yet. We hope that you have a good day. We hope that you and your family are blessed. And I'd just like to remind you that Scripture says that I've never seen, this is a paraphrase, I've never seen the children of God begging for bread. So until we see you again, have a great day.